Recognize myself for 5 minutes for my opening statement. First of all, I want to welcome 3 more agencies to discuss the administration's efforts to clean up and reduce the country's out-of-control regulatory state. Last month, the committee heard from the Department of Defense, the Department of Transportation, and the General Services Administration on their implementation of Executive Orders 13771 and 13777. These executive orders create a process by which agencies must repeal 2 regulations for every new regulation it wants to issue. The regulatory reform task forces help identify regulations for repeal and coordinate the review process within the agency. I can say that it's truly impressive to see the focus that the agencies have placed on this initiative and the work that is being done for the American public and the enthusiasm with which it's being conducted. At our last hearing, the Department of Defense reported identifying over $10 million in savings and is on track to review all of its regulations by the end of 2018. The GSA has generated nearly 1,800 proposals to reduce regulatory burden on vendors and the public, stating it is optimistic the work of its task force will have a significant impact on improving GSA's regulatory and operational landscape. And when you hear that 1,800 proposals have been submitted, it sounds like it's more than the task force, that there are a lot of people engaged in this, and that's exactly what we hoped would happen. The Department of Transportation shared how its reviews have been able to save the American public significant time and money without reducing the safety of the nation's transportation system. And by way of example, in fiscal year 2016, under the previous administration, the Department of Transportation issued rules imposing an estimated $3.2 billion in cost, while the rules issued in 2017 have resulted in approximately $21.9 million in savings. This is meaningful progress. In many cases, it's the task forces and the staff that are driving the driving force and expertise behind the agency's reviews and recommendations. And and again, what we've seen in our first hearing is not only a commitment to do it, but enthusiasm for doing it. We look forward to hearing how your task forces are working with these subject matter experts, many of whom intimately understand what is duplicative, outdated, or imposes the most burden on the public. I'm also encouraged that my colleagues across the aisle identified important areas for review, such as agency guidance documents, which often have the effect of a regulation, and I'm pleased to hear the progress that agencies are making in their review. I would finally like to echo the praise Chairman Meadows bestowed at our last hearing and applaud your efforts and the time you've taken to testify today. Ultimately, the work you are doing with these task forces represent an important first step in a necessary culture change with respect to how our government works with and not at states, local governments, and the American public. I now recognize the Ranking Member of Intergovernmental Affairs, Ms. Demings, for 5 minutes for her opening statement.